Let me start this video by saying something incredibly controversial, incredibly brave. I think cheating is bad, and you should get banned for it. And I think match fixing is bad, and you should get banned for it. Wow. Oh my God, Hawker, so brave. How does he do it? How does he say a brave take so often? Well, I feel like I have to say that, okay, because in any of the nuance in this situation, apparently people seem to think that I'm now like defending cheating and match fixing, which is not what is happening, because Zwei has come out and basically accused Makazze of cheating. And he said his past when Makazze was radar hacking. That is literally what he says. He says that Makazze was radar hacking and it was confirmed information. The problem is the next brackets say his teammates or himself, I don't care, they're the same thing. And no, I'm sorry, those are not the same thing. Those are not the same thing. It is possible for your teammates to be radar hacking and for you not to know. And that is important. So yes, if Makazze was cheating, I would say something needs to be done. He needs to be punished, but there is no proof of that, and that is the problem. Now, there are some clips that look very, very dodgy, okay? Like, you know when you just walk up short, and you kind of have like a little look at sight, and then you kind of just sort of look at sight. You don't really care about long or sight. You're kind of just walking in. Like, what is this? Okay, this, I'm not going to lie. This looks like someone who's cheated his balls off. Like, it does. It does. And by the way, how mad would you be if you're this guy? How mad would you be? Like, you'd be like, wow, how is he stuck in there? Okay. So, yes, okay. There are some clips that look very dodgy. That's not even the question here. The question isn't whether these guys cheated. The question is, do you think it is possible that Makazze didn't know about it? And if you think it is possible that Makazze didn't know about it, I don't think you can outright come out and call him a cheater. I don't think that's right. I don't think that's fair. That is my main problem with this statement. And this, of course, goes back to Zwei having those trash-talking words against Makazze, saying whatever he said. And, you know, he goes on to say that he won't forgive it because if you cheat and you win games, it ruins other people's careers because of it. And I get that. And I 100% am with him. And, like, justice needs to be served in those scenarios. But we don't know that this is one of those scenarios. That is the problem, man. And to me, it is also wrong for you to come out and call someone a cheater based on the fact that you assume they must have known that their teammates were cheating. It is like totally possible, especially because Makazze was 15 at the time, man. He was 15 at the time. I think it is very possible for Makazze to be sitting there thinking to himself, these guys seem kind of sus, but maybe they know something that I don't. I'm not really sure. And especially at that age, you're not necessarily that likely to confront someone, right? So I think that is possible. And if that is possible, I don't think you can come out and say this. I think what you can say, okay, you can't say it like this. You can't say when he was radar hacking. You can say when his teammates were radar hacking, and you can say that you find it really sus and you think he probably knew. You can say that. That's fine. If you're saying that it's my opinion that I think he knew, that's fine. You can say that. That's cool. Nothing wrong with that. You can't just come out and outright call him a cheater, because in the same way that when someone cheats, it ruins other people's careers, you coming out and calling him a cheater when it has not been proven can really affect his career, can really affect him. Now, in this case, it probably won't because he's on Na'Vi, but it still could, okay? And that's the dangerous game that you don't want to go into here. Let's look at some more, because initially it was Flamus who came out and said stuff. He basically said, it's hard to find a reason to root for Na'Vi. The last bright spot is gone. They promoted a cheater whose former teammate openly admitted to everything. It's like the bottom has been hit. Oh, sorry, that's Harumi. That is not Flamus. What did Flamus say? Oh, yeah, he just said he messed around with cheaters and got out from the rags to tier 1. So, of course, he's happy. So, you know, there's clearly a couple of players on this. Now, I found the article. I don't know if I can find the guy admitting to cheating. Now, the problem with this is we've got an auto-translated article here, boys. So if any of you speak Cyrillic, that would be helpful. But you can see it is in Russian. But if the translation has done him this dirty, where it starts by him saying, I've never used cheats, when he actually does admit to using cheats, that would be quite funny. But he does actually admit to already having left CS, and he said he doesn't really have anything to hide. And then he basically says, if you don't know, 322 basically stands for throwing games on purpose. So intentionally losing the game, probably for some betting reasons, for other people betting on the game. You might get some money. It sounds like he did just admit to like throwing 2 or 3 games in his esports career. And by the way he phrases this is so funny. I've probably played 3 or 2 throne matches in my entire esports career, and that's it. What do you mean that's it? What do you mean that's it? That's not just it. You've just admitted to doing something really, really bad. You can't just be like, oh yeah, and all I did was like, you know, I stole all that money from my friend. That's it. That's it. It's not a big deal. Like, what? No, you don't. We're not doing that. Okay. But then also, I'm not going to lie, his reasoning for why his account got banned, it literally is a classic. Okay. He says basically that he sold his account and it got banned. Okay. My account got sold and it's banned. Some guy logged in with a cheat and got banned right away. Oh, it's the classic. It is the classic. It's like when you say, you like ask a girl out over text and then she rejects you. And then you're sitting there and you're like, how can I get out of this? Oh, it was my brother that sent that text. It was my brother. He was joking. Oh, I promise it wasn't me. Like, it sounds very convenient. You know, it sounds very convenient. Now he comes down and says he can't prove it, but he seems to say there's some sort of like reason that it could be proved, like, oh yeah, I sold my account. What else does he say? You'll see from the name that it wasn't me, and the fact there was no microphone, it sounds like. The fact there was a microphone and they didn't talk anymore. I mean, none of that is proof necessarily. Like, you could have just changed the name and still been cheating on the account and not been talking. But, you know, whatever. It does seem dodgy. I think we can say that. It does seem dodgy. I also didn't know initially. I didn't realize that there was also a player that seemed to get banned for cheating. You see here, they got disqualified for cheating. And indeed, Makazze is on this team playing with this Red Hawk guy. I couldn't find as much about this, weirdly, but it also seems like there was a guy that was cheating. So we do have like both sides of it covered. But you can kind of see the tough thing about this is like this team, they play barely any games on HLTV. This is when Makazze was way like lower down in his career. A lot of these are like ESEA Cash Cups. They're really small tournaments, sometimes that don't even make it to HLTV. So it's kind of hard to know, but you can see a couple of the players if we can find them here. Renori down here was one of them. He did get banned on Faceit for cheating. Mugiwara's up here. Yes, he got banned on Faceit again for cheating. So it did clearly happen. And you can see, oh, I don't think I needed this. Yeah, he would have been 15 at the time, but we can see, okay, we can look at some of the clips. Because so far, from what I can find, the guy has admitted to throwing some games. 2 of them have been banned on Faceit. And there was this other scenario here, which, again, I can't find much about how he ended up getting banned for cheating. If I can find that, I might like try and add it on at the end. But I haven't been able to find anything so far. So let's look at some of the clips. Because I'm not going to lie, the first one you've already seen. Just like the way he clears stuff. It does seem questionable. Like, you have a little look at long, sort of a little look back at sight, but not really. You sort of clear mini pit now, but you still haven't looked at sight. Like, the amount of angles here he hasn't really cleared, it does just seem very dodgy. It does just seem weird. But you're saying to yourself, and you're like, okay, maybe he could have got lucky, you know? And again, I would be so mad if I was that guy sitting in pit. But you're like, maybe he could have just got lucky. Sometimes people just make like weird plays and do weird things, okay? So then you have this next round, which again, at first, I didn't think it was too bad, okay? We get the molly into B-apps, and then oftentimes on these low buy rounds, the first guy might just jump out with his knife out because he's trying to get the movement as quick as possible and basically just be the bait for his teammates. So at first, I was like, you know what? Maybe he is just doing that. And even though he doesn't look at sight, which remember, this was mollied very recently, okay? So you're probably thinking there is likely someone on sight. You're going to see he's like kind of sort of clearing, but not really. Now he goes knife out. That looks weird, but if there's a player behind him ready to trade the sight guy very quickly, that's actually not that uncommon. And you'll see here, he runs in, he's looking straight at short and straight at Kraz now. Now the problem is, as you go on, you'll see like he's jumping out the window, but then the guy behind him, Renori, is the other guy who's got a Faceit account banned for cheating. He's also like knife out, not clearing sight like at all. I don't think there's any reason that you could really like explain this, at least to me, unless like someone miscommed so badly to say that I heard them run away from B. But yeah, like it does seem weird, okay? It does seem weird, like very, very odd. And then I think this one, again, it's oftentimes the small things that kind of give this stuff away. Like here, okay? Standard trade. But then it's just the way he clears this angle, right? Like, you've got to think there could be someone here. I feel like any decent player knows there could be another player on A main sort of holding this angle, even though we've seen the aggression. He just kind of slides by, and he's hard clearing this angle. I'm like, bro, that is honestly one of the like weirdest ones for me. That's one of the harder ones to explain. Like, yeah, I mean, unless they heard them, but I'm pretty sure that there's no way they heard them. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think they heard them. But anyway, and then also at the end here, we have this one where you can see, yeah, Mugiwara here, he's jumping, gets smoked off. They have no real info on mid. Rinori with the AWP, he was holding it, okay, early. He was holding Biaps early. He jumped up. That's fine. AWPers sometimes go for this. By the way, how much better does CS2 look? Oh my god. I forgot how ugly CSGO is. But okay. So drops back, boosts his teammate. Still not really scared of Biaps. Knife out. We're 1 minute 30 into the round. Like, someone could easily be in Biaps right now. And he is jumping back up to the apartments. Jumping back up to the apartments, looking at short. Like, I know that mid got smoked, and I know your teammates have probably said that a B split is possible. But what? Like, there's no reason that you're not looking at apps here. There is no reason whatsoever. Eventually gets 1 kill for it. But, like, I just don't think there's any real explanation on this one again. Like, who does that? Who just jumps up with their back turned to B apps, like 1 minute 30 into the round like that? Yeah, man. You know, honestly, my gut feeling is, with everything that you've seen and the clips and the fact that 2 of these guys got banned on Faceit for cheating, these guys are cheating their balls off. That's my gut feeling, okay? Like, I feel okay saying that because in order for them not to be cheating, they have to have been, like, incredibly unlucky. They have to have just, like, a really weird play style where their game sense is, like, not that good, but somehow works out. Right? Which sometimes, like, players have. Sometimes they have this weird stuff. Like, you know, Rops was accused a lot when he was coming up. Stewie was accused a lot when he was coming up. So, like, that's possible. But then they also have to have sold their account and had it banned on Faceit later on. And also, it's the same guy that admitted to throwing some games. So I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, on this scenario, I'm willing to say you are either God's unluckiest soldier or you probably were just cheating. Like, let's be real. But overall, the problem is, again, I just don't think there's any way you can provably tie this to Makazze. There's no way you can. And I think it's just as unfair. Like, I'm someone who's very principled, I feel. I cannot, like, stand, like, unfairness. And unless there is, like, really, really strong proof to suggest that he did know, I don't really think that you can come out and say this sort of stuff. That's all it is for me. I also want to come back to the fact that don't take this against Way. Okay, do not take this against Way because, like, obviously, you can see this is his Telegram. This isn't even translated. This is him saying, you know, insecurity, low self-esteem, deep envy. Because, you know, he's sitting there and he's just had the chance to live his dream of playing on the best team, you know, Team Spirit, the best team in his region, playing alongside Donk, who apparently he's really, like, good friends with. And he got that opportunity, and he's still a young player. And, of course, he's going to be feeling, like, down right now. Of course he is. And he's still young. And, yes, I don't think this tweet was, like, a good tweet to make. But you learn with time, right? You learn with time. And also, like, no one needs to, like, pile on against him right now. Like, what I truly want is for Zway to just go back to focusing on CS. Because I kind of get the feeling that this has come from this bench happening and maybe him, like, looking at someone else who's in a good position and feeling like they might not have got there, you know, they might have done some other stuff and feeling, like, frustrated that he's not able to be in that sort of position. Like, that's the kind of vibe I get from this. And it's totally understandable to feel that way. But I'd hope that he can, going forward, like, transfer this energy into going back on the grind, realizing that this was just a little too early for him because he's a player that's got a lot of potential and he's still young. And I hope he's got the right people around him, letting him know that he doesn't need to get bogged down with this stuff. You know, at the end of the day, on the internet, if you just don't give something the fuel, then people will forget about it. The fire will burn itself out very quickly. And to be honest, people will forget about this, you know, somewhat quickly. They'll remember it a bit longer now because you've restoked it. But, you know, that's the main thing. And also, you know, I think there's no need to like throw hate either way. You know, Sway probably shouldn't have said this like he said it, but it seems like he believes that Makazze did know. Why he believes that, I'm not sure. I think it would be good if some of these players came out and said why, because so far all they seem to be saying is, oh, he must have known. But again, it's so plausible to me. That's the problem. And you're playing with fire if you are coming out and saying something for certain when you don't even want to try and imagine the other side of things. Like, if you can't imagine this happening, like you yourself imagine if you were playing with a guy that you think like he's a bit dodgy, but you're starting to do really well in your career and you're still really young and you're enjoying playing and also you're quite inexperienced and you're sitting there and it's so easy to imagine him going to himself, oh, maybe I just don't know as much as he does. Maybe he knows some things that I don't. Like, I think that's totally plausible, man. And if you can't see that, then I think it's better to like open up your mind to, you know, putting yourself in a position like this. I do think the thing that is unfortunate is like some of those clips are like so dodgy. They are so dodgy, right? But at the end of the day, like I've played with people before and I've queued with them a bit in MM and I'm like, I think you're probably like pretty dodgy. I can't really tell. And then I've just decided not to play with them. But like, would I begrudge someone for continuing to play with them? Like unless it's like really blatant, like sometimes it is hard to know. And especially at the top level. Yeah, like when you're inexperienced, man, like it can be really hard to know, okay? And I'm sure people want me to say like, oh, so what's your gut feeling? Do you think Makazze knew? Do you think he didn't know? This is the main takeaway I want to have. I think it's impossible to know. I think that is something that I have so little information on that I'm just willing to say I don't know if he knew or not. And if I don't know if he knew or not, then I'm not willing to call him these things. Okay, I can say that I think his teammates were very sus. I can say that some of them seem to have got banned for cheating. They seem to have got disqualified for a game for cheating. One of the guys admitted that he threw some games. All of these don't seem great, but I have no clue how close Makazze was to these guys. I don't know if he was friends with them. I don't know how he met them. I don't know if he just randomly started playing mixed games with them, because there aren't that many games listed on HLTV, and you probably could go digging deeper to find all of the sort of random little cups they were playing, but that's not necessarily easy to do. I have no idea. The only person that truly knows are the people on that team and Makazze himself. Whether we'll ever find out, who knows? But I don't think it's fair to definitively say. That's my main takeaway. And I think sometimes it's good to sit back and say, I don't know. And again, even if you come out and say, I don't know, but I think it's pretty likely that he knew. If that's your opinion, that's fine. That's all well and good. You can explain that. I just think that there is enough of a chance that he didn't know that tarring someone with that brush is very harsh, and I don't think is the way to go about it. That's all I wanted to say. Again, I hope the main takeaway, though, is like, these are real people, man. These are real people who are trying to, like, do what they can. They're very young. Like, they're still figuring the world out. Like, let's not take it all that seriously, man. Like, it's... We don't need to be calling these people out or saying, oh my God, like, this guy's right, this guy's wrong, blah, 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 and, like, saying that they're good or bad people because of it. Like, I'm happy to say my opinion on it, and I'm happy to say, like, what I think about what people have said. Like, I think that's fine, but, like, going any further than that, going into personal stuff, like, that doesn't feel needed, okay? That doesn't feel needed. And I hope we just remember that they are people too, you know? I know it seems weird to say, but it seems like sometimes for a lot of fans, it's easy to forget that, you know? It's easy to forget that. Anyway, I've rambled on for long enough. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you next time.